but she was eventually betrayed by him. She even fucked him in the bathroom! Not very classy now, is it? What up, everyone? It's your boy Floz and welcome back to another episode of Tear Up. And this time, we are going to be ranking characters from the first season of Squid Game. And I am going to guarantee this. I'm going to absolutely butcher some of these names because they're all in Korean and there's also one Indian, but they're mostly in Korean, and I am dumb and don't know fluency of Korean language. But then again, you don't really need to have fluency in a language to remember someone's name. So it's not that I can't do it because I'm not fluent in Korean. I'm just having a bad memory. But either way, let's get into it. The tiers for this video are as follows: God tier, square, triangle, circle, and cancelled. I mean, come on. What else was I going to use to rank? It was literally just staring me in the face, the hierarchy. First up, we have Abdul Ali, the man who's nice to everybody and wants to do good for his family. He joins the protagonist group in order to work together to get out of these games alive. And despite only having 3 fingers on one hand, he has shown like immense strength. When the protagonist was about to fall in red light, green light, he held him by the back of his jacket? And sure, we'll say it's a jacket, and held him up to keep him from falling. That is some strength. Overall, how can you not love Ali? How can you not love Ali? Ali's a great character, but he may be too trusting. So trusting to the point where he gets him betrayed in the end. I probably should have said this at the beginning, but there are going to be some spoilers. So yeah, if you don't want any spoilers, stop watching now. Point is, Ali is a lovable guy, but he can be too trusting, which can be turned against him. To me, that's got to put him down one little bit. So instead of God tier, he's going up into square. Other than that being way too trusting thing, he's a good character overall. Next up we have, and this might not even be the correct name at all, but when I looked it up, it was something like Byung-gi. That's probably incorrect. Point is, he's number 1. He's player 111, I believe. Player 111. He is a doctor that was recruited by some of the members of staff to harvest organs of the dead players so they can sell the organs on the black market. And to make sure that he stayed alive, they gave him information on what the next games were going to be. But when they weren't able to give him information on the next game, he turned on them, started killing them until he got the information he needed, until, inevitably, it led to his own doom. This man 100% is not a team player. He just did whatever he could to stay alive. He was only covering his own ass. I gotta give him points for taking out some of the workers on his own. So I might take him out of canceled and put him one step up in circle. Because looking at all these, there are definitely some worse characters than Byung-gi. Again, that's probably not his name. Next up, we have this piece of shit. Player 101, Duck-soo. Duck-soo is a gangster who's made some pretty poor choices. But in that whole facility of the Squid Game games, he's considered to be quite a form of power amongst the players. So they gravitate towards him because he believes they'll protect them. Or it's just straight up out of fear. That one's probably more likely. Duck-soo is a piece of shit. He will create alliances only to betray them right at the end. But is that sort of thing going to come back to bite him? And as a character and all, to me, he is a complete piece of shit who deserves no time in the limelight. Sorry, Duck-soo, but you are canceled. You can go and kill yourself. But that's not what happened, was it? Next up, we have the greatest character in this whole thing. We have Song Gi-hun! 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 I gotta say, how can you not love Gi-hun? This man is a child at heart and believes in the power of humanity, that humanity is good-willed. He has also created alliances in this place. However, some of those came back to bite him. Some of those led him to the end. But some of them, ooh, they hurt much more than others. One thing that set Gi-hun apart from a majority of these other characters is that he did almost whatever it took to help others survive. After the first game, anyway. Point being, how could you not absolutely love Song Gi-hun? He is so great that he deserves to be up in God tier. God tier Song Gi-hun. Now, next up with these, there weren't any specific names for these workers, but I'm just gonna go off based off their shape. First up, we have the square managers. There's a hierarchy among the workers. The square ones are the managers, which are the highest in the hierarchy, obviously below the big boy. They oversee all the games and check over the security feed. Everyone answers to the squares, which is completely opposite in real life. Point being, I think it's very obvious where these next three are going to go. I have to put the square in the square tier, because I mean, it's way too fitting not to. Next up, we have the triangle soldiers. The triangles are a step below the squares, but a step above the circles. The triangles are the ones who have the guns that make sure all the players stay in check during all the games. They make sure no player breaks the rules, and if a player is eliminated, they do the eliminating. Bah! In my opinion, the triangles have the best roles out of all the workers. But at the same time, I have to go with the funniness of the tier lineup. I have to put the triangles in the triangle tier. It's too fitting not to. I mean, I hate them all, but it's too fitting. And lastly, we have the circle workers. The circle workers are kind of like, they're the lowest of the low among the employees. They do like the heavy lifting jobs, if that makes any sense. They take the bodies off of the fields, they put them in the incinerators, they prepare the food and all that shit, they do like the cleaning, the plumbing, all of that bullshit. Point is, their jobs are the lowest of the low. And they're treated as the lowest of the low, as they should. Circle mask, gonna go in the circle tier. Because I mean, it's too fitting. I had to do it, I just had to. But now that we're past the generics, we're getting into more main characters. Such as this one, Oh-il-nam, player number 1 in the first season of Squid Games, who in the end turned out to be the creator of the games, and he is watched from afar so many times, but yet this time he chose to actually go into the games. Why, you ask? Because there are different levels of fun, from spectating as to actually playing. I know that kind of shit firsthand. Maybe not to this extent, but I get the general idea. Oh-il-nam was one of the first ones that befriended the protagonist Gi-hun and became part of his group to stay alive. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a piece of shit person who I'm glad kind of kicked the bucket in his own way. Again, if you don't like spoilers, turn off this video. But as for going into the games, his reasons are a little more pure in a sense. You'll understand what I mean if you watch the later season. And I can't wait for when season 3 comes out. I'm waiting! But Oh-il-nam as a character, you know what? I kind of like him. Almost as much as I like Ali. But the fact of him being a shitty-ass betrayer, I have to put him down triangle. But I will put him ahead of the triangle masks. Because, I mean, even though he turned out to be a piece of shit traitor, he was still good while he was in the games. Next up here, we have the front man, Mr. Hwang In-ho. I believe that's what his name was. Hwang In-ho. That sounds right. Hwang In-ho, the front man, is the highest overseer of the games, with a mask that's completely different to everyone else's. It's completely black and like very geometrically cut. I say very geometric. The others literally have squares, triangles, and circles on the mask. What is that? Geometry. I mean, there really wasn't much that the frontman did in the first season. He did have some few key moments chasing down a character that we will get into later in this video. But compared to the other ones, he didn't seem as big in a sense. That's where I'm going to leave it. You know, I think I'm going to put him down in circle. Because somehow, I like him more than I do Duck-Soo. I think Duck-Soo's just going to be on his own and canceled. Oh, maybe. I'm looking at some future characters and maybe not. Next up, we have a character whose name I might get wrong. I think it's either Mi Young or Ji Young. I could be completely wrong, and it's probably neither of those. Point is, this player, I believe, was introduced to us in the third game, when everyone had to create groups of 10. And one of the female protagonists saw her up on the stairs all by her lonesome, and then decided to bring her into their group. Why? Because she's a kind soul. And then those same two paired up in the next game, where it turns out they had to go against each other. One was going to win, one was going to lose. And sadly, she chose to lose graciously, because the other character had much more to live for on the outside. And I mean, I don't blame her. But it was still such a sad scene to watch. Mi Young or Ji Young, or probably neither, you will live on in our hearts. You will never be forgotten. You will go up in square. Because, I mean, God tier is for, like, the best of the best. And, I mean, you were only in, like, 2 or 3 episodes. Next up, we have another one of my favorite characters. We have Hwang Junho, the brother of Hwang Inho, the detective, who believes his brother had disappeared and was trying to find traces of what's happened to his brother. And he found a certain card that matched a card that Gi-hun brought to the police station. So he tried to enlist help from Gi-hun, but Gi-hun was like, no. Why do you want help from me? I'm not good to anybody. So Junho snuck onto the island, masqueraded himself as a guard, which he did a shockingly well job. It kind of proves how poor their security is, but still he was able to get in by some miracle. Dude performed amazing undercover work, and if it wasn't for such spotty signal out there on those islands, all that information could have gotten to the chief of detectives, and they could have done something. But no, it was not meant to be. And then he was shot and fell off a cliff. But did he die? You'll have to watch the second season to find out. Again, spoilers. If you don't want to know spoilers, click off the goddamn video. Hey, you know what? Yeah, so much so that I'm putting him up in God tier. Because, like, they were, like, I'm gonna say this. There were, like, 2 main protagonists that we focused back and forth on. And it was Gi-hun and Junho. That's what I firmly believe. Next up, we have this crazy lady. We have Han Min-yo. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. Han Min-yo. She is crazy. She's desperate to live that she even clinged on to Duck-Soo. You gotta be really desperate to cling on to Duck-Soo. But she was eventually betrayed by him. She even fucked him in the bathroom! Not very classy now, is it? And she was like so desperate for her cigarettes, she put it in like this cylindrical, oval, giant pill-shaped thing, put it in it was like a condom or something, and shoved it up her, and smuggled it in when she went back to the games. What the fuck? I still get chills thinking about it. Like I said, she's crazy! But she was able to get her full revenge on Duck-Soo in the 5th game. You'll have to, again, see what it is, because I'm not going to tell you. But so much so, she was so badass. She had such a great redemption that I might just have to, I'm going to put her up in square. Not God tier just yet, but I had to, because she was an amazing character. And next up, we have another one of my favorite characters. We have Kang Se-byuk, which is probably the only like truly female protagonist. That's the best I can say. She mostly stayed as a loner throughout the games, but then was quote unquote brought into the main protagonist group. There's probably a better way to term that, but sure, let's go with that. She's playing in the games to win the money to get her brother out of the orphanage, and so that she can see their mother again. I believe they escaped from North Korea. The evil ones. She was really smart at certain points. I will say that. And she's such a great character in my opinion. I'm putting her up in God tier. She is a great character in my opinion. Plus, I mean, she pretty. Next up, we have this piece of shit salesman. The salesman for the games, he basically works as recruiting. He goes to mostly subway stations, and he challenges people there to a game of dachki, which is where there's like two very intricately folded pieces of paper. One's on the ground, and you throw the other one down to the one on the ground to try and flip the one on the ground over. And if you do, you win, and you get money. If you lose, sales guy slap you. And I'm pretty sure, like, over in South Korea, the salesman, the actor who plays the salesman, is like a fucking A-lister who I'm pretty sure he was on Train to Busan, if I'm not mistaken. Train to Busan was also a really good movie. And I don't remember if we only saw the salesman in one episode or two. I think we only saw him in one episode. I could not tell you. I could not remember. But point being, he's the reason that everyone got into the game, so he essentially killed all those people. But somehow he's better than the front man and player 111. I think I might put him on the same level as OL Nam. This is just my thought process. And now we have this absolute piece of shit. Cho Sung-woo, the biggest traitor in the fucking galaxy. This man did whatever he could to get ahead. He betrayed his allies, betrayed his friends. Sometimes, just by looking at the circumstances around him, he would be able to like figure out the game they were playing before they even played it. And would he tell others? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Mostly no. Why? Because the less people that were around, the bigger a chance he had to win. He was willing to sacrifice anybody. Somehow, I think he's worse than Duck-soo. Not to mention that, he was a childhood friend of Gi-hun. How could you betray Gi-hun like that? You horrible, horrible monster. You will go away and cancelled. And die! And lastly, I didn't have any specifics for this one, so I just went with all of the VIPs. The VIPs are like major investors into these games because they have so much money that they're bored with everyday life. So this way, it becomes very interesting. So they bet on human lives, pitting one against another. Are they pieces of shit? Absolutely. Do I hate them? Absolutely. Do I somehow hate them more than Duck-soo and Cho Sung-woo? Somehow no. Somehow for me, they are up in circle above them. I have no idea how, because they're such pieces of shit, but they are. And I think this is where I'm going to leave this entire thing off. I'm at Floz MG. This has been Tear Up, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Bye!